Hello, welcome to Health Talk. I'm Dr. Manny. You remember her as Meadow Soprano in the hit TV show The Sopranos. But behind the scenes, Jamie-Lynn Sigler was suffering. She was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when she was just 20 years old and hid it from her co-stars and friends until now. She's here with me to talk about her condition and why she's partnered with Biogen to launch Reimagine Myself. It's such an honor to see you.
That's so sweet. Thank you for having me.
All right. This is a big diagnosis, a big disease.
Yes.
What was it like when they told you that you had MS?
Scary. I didn't know much about the disease. I still feel like even today people don't know much about multiple sclerosis. But when you're 20 years old, you have your life ahead of you. I already had a big career. It was difficult to accept.
Right.
And to be quite honest, was very difficult to accept until recently, until I was able to sort of come forward with my diagnosis, because I was able to live in denial, essentially, for some time, because I went symptom-free for a couple of years.
So what, in other words, when you, back in the day, what brought you to the doctor and say, look, I'm having this problem, I think it's nothing?
Yeah.
What were you feeling? What were your
I was feeling sort of that feeling right before you get pins and needles, like that heavy numbness where it just feels strange in your legs, and the sensation was spreading and rising. And it was at a time in my life that I was very stressed, very overworked. Even though I was 20 years old, it was a lot on my plate to handle at the time. Yeah. And I thought I was being probably a bit dramatic, that I wanted to go to the ER and get checked out of what was happening. And I thought I would be sent home a couple of hours later. But instead, I was given a spinal tap and an MRI and was diagnosed with relapsing multiple sclerosis.
Yeah. From then on, did you need to be treated immediately, or were you able to manage the symptoms just maybe with diet and rest and things like that?
I was put on treatment immediately.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I was not good about my treatment. I wasn't a loyal patient. I was sort of rebelling against the fact that I was given this diagnosis. I wasn't symptomatic. I was upset. I didn't want to do an injectable. It was just all this sort of bratty behavior, I guess, that I was just, that's understandable now.
In your 20s, and, where is this coming from?
Sure, but it was difficult for me to accept and live my life that way until I wasn't not symptomatic, and I had issues that were presenting themselves.
Was there anybody in your family that had MS that you knew about it? So this was like, out of left field. You couldn't relate. There was no familial history or nothing. What did you learn about the disease per se? If you could just tell me, do you know what the cause of it is, or?
We don't know the cause.
Right.
I know that many people, especially women, are diagnosed in their 20s and 30s. Right. And it is a disease that can very much be kept in control when you stay on treatment. And that's something that I've learned over time is, building my support team over the years slowly, of reaching out and telling certain people and trusting in certain people until I was ready to publicly come out with it. My doctor was one of the most important people that I had, because, after I had my son and going on new treatment, just being able to talk to him about side effects and what was best for me, just having that open dialogue was really important, because this is a disease, like I said, that is very manageable, but you have to manage it on a daily basis.
You have to treat it. When you were diagnosed, did it affect your day-to-day operation? I mean, your career, did you slow down, or? Not
initially. When I was 20, I wasn't.
You were burning the candle in both ends.
Exactly. I was doing the show. I was on Broadway. I was unstoppable.
Right.
Then I went through a divorce around the age of 24, and stress for anyone is a killer, but especially when you're dealing with a chronic illness, autoimmune, or especially relapsing MS, it can make things flare up and make things worse. And that's when the disease really started to manifest and symptoms started to show. And so what I deal with on a daily basis is weakness on my right side, some limitation. I can't run. I haven't been able to run in 10 years. It's something I hope one day I will be able to do again. High heels are hard for me, which is hard as a woman. I'd love to be in them all the time. But there's still a lot of things I can do.
So you have to be careful.
Exactly.
All right, let's talk about this campaign, because, you are just such a wonderful individual. I love when celebrities like yourself tell their stories. This is what I have. This is what I'm suffering, and then sort of join a respectable campaign to bring awareness. Tell me about this Reimagine Myself campaign.
You know, coming out with this disease, it was really empowering and allowed me a new platform and a great sense of responsibility I feel now to the MS community. So teaming up with Biogen and starting this Reimagine Myself campaign, we've created reimaginemyself.com, and on this website is a community, a resource for those that are suffering and living with relapsing multiple sclerosis. And for me personally, you'll see content, like video content of a day in the life of sort of how I handle parenting, my career, my marriage, throughout the day. What do I do to help take care of myself? You know, that's meditating, eating well, taking my pill, staying good, you know, loyal to my treatment, taking care of myself, taking the breaks when I need. And I also write a series of blog posts where I get really real and honest, because I think a lot of the time when people are dealing with any chronic illness, you can feel very isolated, you feel alone, you feel like people don't understand. And I wanted to be somebody that says, I get it. I feel you, I hear you, I go through what you go through, and I understand. And so we get real about when I was first diagnosed to becoming a mother, marriage, sex, all the things that, these areas that are affected by this disease, but also to how to remove it. And you reimagine your life with this disease. It doesn't define you, still living your life to its fullest, the best you can, and having that support system. And we're just another support, you know, another place of support to go to.
Right, which, you know, I think patients that deal, you know, I have a lot of patients with MS. I deliver babies for a living. So they all, that's the kind of work I do, high risk OB. And I know sometimes women are afraid.
Yeah.
You know, because they say, well, I'm on these medications. What do you think, Dr. Manny? How is it going to affect my pregnancy? But what I tell is, you know, chronic disease is something, yes, that you have to deal with, but if you manage it, it shouldn't alter your life. You can work around it. You could have a family. You could be active. You could have a job. You can be creative. And there are ways to do it, and I'm glad that this campaign is going to show people how to do it.
I hope so.
All right. What are you working on now? I got to ask you.
Sure.
All right, come on.
I have a movie
Haven't
coming
seen
out
you in
tomorrow.
30 years.
I have a movie coming out tomorrow called Loserville. It's in select cities and on video and on demand, and it's a fun coming-of-age high school story. I play a crazy, colorful debate coach, Coach Russo, who believes in her losers fully. I shot a Western a couple of months ago, like post-Civil War, really period, really fun. Got to ride horses and shoot in New Mexico for a couple of months, and that'll hopefully be out next year. And I've been really busy with this campaign. This is sort of a new job for me, and busy being a mom.
And
you know,
I was going to say, and the baby.
That's a pretty full-time gig right there.
That's a full-time job for sure. All right, well, listen, it's a wonderful thing to talk about the things that we've been talking about this morning. Is there a website you want to promote?
It's reimaginemyself.com.
All right, so that's where people can go get help. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And if you have a health question, tweet me at Dr. Manny on Fox. Until next time, I'm Dr. Manny.